In today's video, I'm going to give you an idea for an interactive layout with a hidden pocket for an extra photo and journaling, and a great alternative to flip flaps. Hi, I'm Katie Taylor at scrapandkatie.com, where I show you how to preserve your family's memories through the art of scrapbooking. Today's video is kind of a follow-up to some things that I put in place, and if you're new around here, I like to use things after the fact, and you'll see here in just a second what I'm talking about. But I've pulled out the Let's Party sticker sheet, so you can see that a couple of the stickers are missing. I've pulled out just a few pieces of paper from that collection. I have a couple of pattern papers that I think will go with my photos, as well as a couple of cardstock colors. But the whole reason for this layout is this piece right here. And this is a White Daisy piece that I've actually created by the past 2 or 3 videos that I've done here on my YouTube channel. I'll leave them linked here below, but you'll see a sneak peek of those here. And then I just wanted to use this paper. So instead of wasting this shimmer brush, that I used on my other projects, I like to just turn a piece of cardstock or paper over on top of it. And then this has just kind of been in the corner of my craft table, and now I'm ready to use it. And I'm going to use it for these photos. These are some old birthday photos of our son's 3rd birthday party. And you can see here, Spider-Man themed. And then I'm also going to pull in the Let's Party scrapbooking stamp set and thin cut, mainly for the numbers. And then also, this was a 4x6. I have a video showing how I print smaller photos, but anytime I have just half a photo, like this 3x4, I go ahead and I use the left side to add my journaling. And so I'll make strip journaling out of this later on in the video. And then I also have a couple of zip strips. They are the black and white polka dot, again from the Let's Party collection. I think they'll go really well with the Spider-Man themed. So I'm going to clear this off, get some things cut, and then we can get started. I have all my pieces cut, and I'm going to go ahead and do the die cutting. So I have the Let's Party. I'm going to use the 3. And then I think that's the only thing. I might use some of the stamps, but I think that's the only die cut. I do have some extra hats and a balloon if I want that. And then I've pulled out the Irresistible, mainly for this. So the good thing about having a Spider-Man themed party is you can always use Halloween stuff. Now, while I don't believe that your layouts necessarily need to be themed, and you could see that by the background piece of that White Daisy cardstock, I do want to just throw in some little touches that have to do with Spider-Man, and so that's why I chose the spider web. And so I'm using a layout that is actually in the catalog. If you still have the catalog, the January and February catalog. If not, you can check it out online and you'll see the inspiration that I am using. But it has some circles on there that are used for kind of anchoring spots for the embellishment clusters. And so my plan is to actually use the spider webs instead. And you'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. So I'm just going to cut these with my cutter. I did have a customer ask. She has our Close to My Heart cutter and absolutely loves it. And she went to kind of get replacement cutting mats, and we are out. So I will leave a link down below. This cutting machine, I've said before in a recent video, is the same one that Bira manufactures. And so I'll leave a link down below. Now they don't have the 6x12 plates, which I love because it allows you to cut those longer pieces for 12x12 layouts, but they do have the 6x9. So if you want to grab one, if you are a fan of our oversized plates. I am going to speed up the rest of this layout and get to the meat and potatoes of what this layout is about. I have gutted my Bluebird piece of base cardstock. That way it's not so bulky, and I'll be able to use that later for the hidden journaling. And then I'm going to pull out my Bluebird shimmer brush. This is what I used for the splatter that you see. I'm just outlining the piece of pattern paper that's going to go behind my photos. Messed up a bit, so now I got to come back in and fill it in and make it look like I wanted it to be like that. Same thing with this number 3. I originally was just going to outline it, and then I end up messing up. So I'm going to color it all over with the shimmer brush, and you'll be able to see the shimmer here in just a second, and definitely at the end of this video with the still shots. So I'm going to clean up my all-purpose mat since I don't have my glass board out and get that put away. And then for those black and white polka dot zip strips that I was talking about, I thought that those would be perfect caps to the top and the bottom of this confetti pattern paper. This confetti pattern paper has a tint to it. It's actually French vanilla, I believe. So it's a little bit more than the white, but it still just wasn't popping to my liking. So by adding the zip strips and then of course outlining that piece with the Bluebird shimmer brush, it's going to pop a whole lot more. And then of course I'm going to tuck in some of the embellishments. Now this stamp set that I'm using actually comes from the Let's Go Anywhere scrapbooking workshop kit, and I'm using black ink, and I am just using the carrier sheet as my block, inking that up and going to put it by these 2 big huge blots of that shimmer brush. And then that's going to be behind the spider web, and you can't even really tell that it is actually a street view or a topography. It's just going to kind of look like some messiness to the webs. You know how sometimes when you look at a web, it's not just clean cut? That's kind of what I was going for here. Now for the 3rd, I inked up in Sundance, and then I am just cutting this out with my scissors since it did not come with a thin cut. And that's going to end up going by that number 3. And then I've also added 3D foam tape to the back of this confetti piece. And that's going to pop it up just a little bit, add some dimension. And then it's also going to allow me to cut that spider web and add it. Now the photo, the cupcake photo, I did a couple of things with this off camera, but I ended up wanting to do a slide pocket instead of like a flip flap. So that's not glued down at all. I'm just adding 3D foam tape to the bottom, and then I'm going to pull out my thin 3D foam tape. I love this foam tape. It is super thin, super pliable. You'll see me use it on the back of my 3, and it just kind of allows to get into those tiny spaces, which the edges of this photo definitely required that little bitty 3D foam tape. So this Bluebird cardstock is going to go on the back of this photo, and that's going to be what I'm going to actually build the pull mechanism. And then I peeled away that backing of the 3D foam tape and attached this photo, and you can see how that's going to work. I'm going to leave that there for right now and then work on the embellishment clusters. Like I said, I have this web, and you can see how that map behind that web just kind of adds some busyness. I'm going to cut this in, not half, but you can see where I cut it. I just kind of used my photo mat as a guide, and that saved me from having to cut 2 of them. And then I'm going to loosely kind of line those things out. I did end up stamping off camera this happy with the candy apple ink. Now, even though that red shimmer brush blot on my white daisy is actually scarlet, the paper packet that I'm using has candy apple in it. And so I think it really worked well. It's kind of dark and a light red. And then I wanted the zip strip off of another piece of the Let's Party paper, and it just said birthday. So I dovetailed the end, and then again adding some of that Bluebird shimmer brush around the edge so it will pop. Here is me adding that thin 3D foam tape to the back of that 3, and you can see where it just was easily curved. I also like to use this 3D foam tape for shakers, especially in like circular shapes. Going to add that down, and then go ahead and add some foam tape behind that little birthday pennant that I made from the zip strip. I do need just a little bit extra at the very end of that dovetail, so I'm going to add that. And then I am going to work on this little pull tab. Now I used a pencil to mark the top of the photo in case it goes all the way down to the bottom. And then I pulled out already some pre-cut decorative shape thin cuts. The honey butter just wasn't popping. So although I didn't want to pull out my cutter again and then these decorative shapes, I did end up pulling them out because I also want that larger stitched circle. And again, I'm cutting that from the Dark Side of Sundance. Now, these decorative shapes are still on back order, but they are expected either this month or next month. They will sell out fast once they become available. So just check my website daily if you need to. And then if you're a part of my Facebook group or my email list, I'm also sending out updates when those really wanted items are coming back into stock. So I'm going to go ahead and trim off just a little bit past that pencil mark. And then I'm going to pull out the candy apple borders. Now these borders are part of the exclusive special going on right now for the Cardstock Carnival. I've used them on a couple of layouts so far. Now I've pulled out two and I can't really decide which one I want to use. So there's kind of this bubble one. It's not really a scallop. I'm calling it bubble. I like the look of that, but I really it was too soft for this layout. I felt like this layout needed some points, so I pulled in this thin one. Now, if this thin one was a little bit thicker, I probably would have used that one because I really liked the look. But I'm going to go back in with the bubble ones. I feel like the majority of the bubbles are hidden anyway by the other things I'm going to add to this pull tab. So the softness won't matter that much. I am adding 3D foam tape to the back of this tab, but some of the 3D foam tape is going to show. So I'm just using my micro tip scissors to actually split the backing into two. So I'm going to be able to peel the backing off the bottom section, and then the backing will stay on the top section. And so that's part that touches the layout. It's not going to actually stick. I pulled out a couple of stickers from the Let's Party sticker sheet. I'm going to decorate that part of the Bluebird cardstock that shows. And then I am going to also split this one in half and then use another sticker from that sticker sheet. It is a circle with some polka dots. I'm going to cut it in half and then add some liquid adhesive to the back of that. Now I did end up putting that on top of my photo mat, just right behind my photos. But that glue dries really fast, and so it's not going to stick to that base. I also pulled out some little stars or hats. I can't remember which one that is. And then another little strip sticker. I am going to add some more of that polka dot zip strip on the bottom. And then use my Cricut spatula to peel away that sticker up at the top. So then I can actually add some more tear tape to the back of that and then kind of overlap it on that zip strip. That one says It's Your Day. And then of course those bottom Sundance, those are some stars, which really fit well with birthday parties. I felt like this layout just needed something more. So I've pulled out my Versamat and my T ruler, and I'm going to use a black journaling pen to draw a straight line all the way around. Now, if you follow me here, you know that I usually just kind of freehand this, but this one is going to be just a little bit different. I'm going to add a straight line, and then I'm going to come back in with some little doodle squiggles and just add some squiggles here and there. It's going to kind of be organic. I don't really know why the squiggles came in, but I really actually like the end look. It almost looks like little spider webs hanging. So here is a live look of that layout and all of that shimmer. And then of course that stamping behind the spider webs. And then the little pull tab that if you are wanting our out of stock flip flaps, you can always use this method to either hide additional photos and or your journaling. Here are some still shots. Don't forget, I'll leave links down below to all the products that I used, as well as links to my social media, so you can go over there and follow me. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. Remember, if you liked what you saw, come back tomorrow, or better yet, subscribe and hit that notification button so you'll be alerted the next time I post a crafty video. Thanks, and you guys have a wonderful weekend.